Good morning, anglers. This is Captain KCP. I'm going to start off with the new year a little bit early. I know it's December 29th, 2020. I've been going to hit next year hard and heavy with YouTube videos on fishing, live action, what I'm in process of doing with my 86 bayliner project boats, what I use for tackle, what I use for different seasons, what I also use for different presentations, what apps I use, what apps I don't use, how do I speak to anglers about what they're doing, where they're catching stuff, if they're in a kayak or if they're on a small boat or an actual big bass boat or different lakes. Now, with this boat being said, with the project that I have, my adventures are the next year to get that up and running and go ahead and be on the water, a big body of water. And usually I go once or twice to Wisconsin with my father, go up to I'm drawing a blank where the name is, Minocqua, there we go, Minocqua, Wisconsin, to go and do their big lakes out there, fish for walleye, bass, smallies, bluegill, crappie, perch, just to run to the norm up there. So with that being said, I'm going to try to get a little more likes and subscribers this year. I'm going to really push hard, put out at least 2 videos a week, maybe possibly 3. I don't want to overwhelm you guys with the same monotonous stuff. I want to speak to you guys as an average fisherman or angler and go from there. So with that being said, I'd like to know what your guys' feedback is on, hey, Kirk, I do this, or hey, I do that about this time of year in this, wherever your neck of woods are. If it's in the Midwest, out west, East Coast, southern states, anything like that. My main fishing of bodies of waters are up in Wisconsin and in Illinois, where I reside in Illinois, the suburbs of Illinois. Fishing is far from few due to the climate change that we have. We got a winter, so it ices over. I've done ice fishing, but it just takes so long to do ice fishing that I just bagged it up, and now I'm going to focus on ice fishing. Regular bank fishing. Met up with a gentleman from one of the clubs that I have on the fishingangler.com app. Use that a lot and go from there. We've hit it hard, and we've met a real good success with fish and going out early in the morning between 5 and 9 in the morning when daybreak hits, and you got top water action, you got jigging, you got suspended baits, jerk baits, crankers, spinners, and we've hit a variety of fish, anywhere from 1 pound to 3 pounds. I'm getting his son involved. He's about 8 years old, and I've really changed his life around, and it's changed my life around too. I'm helping somebody out that hasn't seen fishing as I see it. Now that just might be everybody's opinion. Well, you're teaching his ways. He's got to learn his own ways. That is true. Everybody is different. They got to, pick up their own rods. They got to pick their own reels up and go from there and find out what suits them best. Some people like short rods. Some like medium rods. Some like extremely long rods where you're swinging a telephone pole out there that's 18 feet long and you're on 8-pound test. My personal brand is Abu Garcia. I was a Quantum guy for a while, but Quantum went to the wayside on rods and reels, except for Bill Dance, and I just don't like his setup. It's 1 piece or 2 pieces. I prefer the 1-piece action. It gives me a lot more control instead of putting that rod together and having I would say maybe in my opinion, a soft spot or a breaking point. The rod doesn't really naturally bend. It wants to bend at that point where you stick it together, and you don't get the feel or the sensitivity. That's, like, again, in my opinion, some people say, hey, that's all I use is nothing but 2-piece rods. I have nothing against that, don't get me wrong. So I use a 7-foot medium action rods, Abu Garcia, and I also use their bait casters. I have a couple. Not to tell you my collection, I'm not saying I have the best collection. I bought them at Walmart, under 90 bucks. And the rods were separate and the reels were separate. There's guys out there that spend $300, $400, $500, $600, and sometimes even less than that, and I'll catch fish and are doing very well. It's just what you're feeling comfortable with. You want to get a good gear ratio. You want to get a good flex in the line. Well, I mean, excuse me, in the rod. What you're most comfortable with, and go from there. It all takes a learning curve on what you're going to do with certain baits. Heavier the baits, of course, you want just a little stiffer rod. I found that out. I've broken so many poles in my past years of having too heavy of a lure that snaps the tip off, or actually when you're throwing the lure, you don't break the rod, you actually break the line because the line's not heavy enough, or you just have a weak spot in the line. So you got to check your line once in a while and check your line accordingly. You don't have to go outrageous. If you're used to throwing 8 to 10, maybe 12 on, that's about as heavy as that I'll go, is about 12 pounds monolithic. And I'm usually sticking around between 8 and 10 mono to go from there. I'm not, drastic. I'm not buying spider wire or anything like that. I stick with Berkeley. I'm a Lowrance, Berkeley, power baits, stuff like that. Just something that's run of the mill. I also shop at basically Bass Pro, which that's my opinion too. You could get everything under the world there, and Walmart. Walmart is more for deals on small stuff that I need to replace this or I need to grab that. Bass Pro Shop is like my Christmas box. Anytime I get an extra couple bucks, I go there and I splurge. I usually buy way too much and come home with things that I don't use, or I buy doubles of and take it back. That's another story. So on that front, I'm going to be talking the next couple of days. This is the first video, and probably of the upcoming season. I'll make another one on Thursday and go ahead and talk about what I'm going to use this upcoming year about fishing on bank ponds that I do around here. It's mostly bank ponds. Like I said, I'm going to be touching them back on the 86 bayliner project boat that I have, that I'm going to rebuild, revamp, pick that up for $200, pick up a trailer for $200. Both the trailer and the boat need work. I've done work already. That there's a couple videos already posted, not too long in length. I was just out that day and it was cold and windy, and I didn't know how the video was going to do. As you can see right now, this is my truck. I'm setting up my phone and a mag light as like a camera. So yeah, it's very how can I say, low budget. There's a lot of groups out there that are doing a YouTube scenes that they have multiple video people and editors, and that's their life. Well, I'm 44 years old in a couple of days in January, and I'm probably late to the scene for the YouTube channel. I just want you guys to leave a couple comments, leave a couple likes, maybe even subscribe once you do look at it. I'm going to focus this year on strictly anglers that want to start off, that are beginners, that are advanced, that are extreme. And you guys know who I'm talking about. It's not these guys that go out and try to make $1 for everything they do. You know who I'm talking about. There's 4 or 5 guys out there that, you know, they're doing it, and God bless them. They've worked hard. I want to speak to the general public that has struggles like I have in my past 30 plus years of fishing. I want to hit home to you guys, and I want to connect with you guys and have a conversation about things that you've come across, of how to fish certain ways, certain depths, certain ponds that you look at it driving by after work at a hard day, and it's like, man, I wonder, that looks like a good pond to fish, but nah, they can't be any fish in there. And all of a sudden, you get a couple hours extra fishing at your time. You go over there and you'd be surprised. You pull out monsters, or you could just pull out some dinks just to have some fun. I'm mostly doing this YouTube channel as a fun editorial session to you guys that would like to have a conversation and like to have the, you know, experience of somebody that's beating the banks. And if a lot of people are beating the banks that don't know where to go, what to look for, I might have a little insight on what to look for and how to present certain lures and when and what times. Now, I have 3 ponds that I go to. One pond that gets weed growth, I would say the middle of the summer. I mean, you can't even throw a hook in there without getting snagged. That's how bad it is. But just after ice is done, until the ice comes in, I could catch fish all day. But during the hot months, when the vegetation starts to really grow up, it's just like a blanket over the water. You can't, I mean, even if you threw a bare hook out there, you'd be snagging weeds. So that's one pond I'll talk to you during the year. Another pond that I found out through a club member, through fishangler.com, on my app, on my club, LMB of Illinois. It's a stadium park facility which has baseball diamond soccer fields, and it produces a couple fish. I haven't really thrown my portable depth finder out there, or plotter, fish finder, or a plotter, see what's going on with the valleys or peaks. If it's just it's gonna be man-made because it's on a baseball facility. So I know it's gonna be man-made and man-dug. With that being said, there's probably just, you know, a general bowl shape type of deal. No, not real steep or rocky terrain or dips or doodles or whatever. It's just probably just a flat bottom with a bowl type area just for runoff or drainage of the facility. So this year I'll go ahead and plot that one. There's another one that's a golf course, that was a golf course. I'm trying to get some paperwork and litigations to see if I could get on there. It's private property, but some owners own it, and I'm looking at getting their ideas if I could get in there. It's a golf course pond, and that's another thing. Golf course ponds are heavily stocked with monster bass. I found that out myself when I lived in South Carolina for about 10 years. Golf course ponds are untouched, but you know, catch them and release and go back the next day and catch them again. So with that being said, this concludes the video. I'm gonna sit there and go ahead and shoot up another video probably Thursday of this week, and I'll bring my bag of goodies now that I've perfected the idea how to set up the camera so you guys can see my ugly face. Yeah, I need to shave, but I'll get back to you during the year and we'll go from there. We'll grow an adventure. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you just look at it once or twice, say, this guy, hey, hit something I want to do, and keep following him. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and stay tuned. Bye now.